Assalamualaikum and a very good day I bid to Madam Maisara and my fellow friends. My name is Suzuliani Mohamad from TSLB2082R. Today I will be presenting on subject TSLB2082R Language Assessment in the Primary English Second Language Classroom for Task 3 Performance. I will be presenting on the assessment issue in the Malaysian Primary ESL classroom. So, stay tuned and enjoy my video. As we know, assessment plays a very important role in evaluating or assess students' language proficiency and guiding their learning progress in Malaysian Primary ESL classroom. Even in the KSSR Curriculum Standard Sekolah Rendah curriculums, assessments is designed to be both formative and also summative to ensure that students develop reading, writing, speaking, and listening skill effectively. However, despite its importance, several assessments challenge arise, particularly in gradings, feedback, and also reporting. Now, let's see the issues that I would like to highlight in these presentations. I have three main issues that I would like to mention in these presentations. The first issue is teacher workload and large class size. Many ESL teachers had to handle around 35 until 45 students per class. Teachers are struggle to provide personalized grading and also feedback to the students. The time constraint also limit the teacher's ability to assess students holistically. For instance, in my case or in my situations, I have three English classes which consist of at least 36 students for each class, which means that I need to assess around 108 students for English subject, not including other supplementary subjects such as history and also PSV subject. So when I had to handle a lot of students in one time or in these periods of in the year, it's kind of somehow give me a heavy workload, which is limited my personalized feedback to my students. The second issue is consistent grading standards. Uh, sub, Subjectivities in assessment lead to the inconsistency in grading. Uh, no clear rubrics or standardizations criteria for especially for writing and also speaking tasks lead to the unfairness of assessments as different teachers apply different grading criteria. The third issue is unclear and non-specific feedback in report cards. As we know that many Malaysian primary school report cards only focus on the grades and general comments, not on the personalized comment on how the student should improve themselves on what are their weaknesses and also their strength in their studies. So I think these are the issues that I'm going to highlight in these presentations. So guys, without further ado, let's dive deeper into the first issues, teacher workload and large class size. The strength of this situation is that teachers can access many students using standardized method. Structured assessment format, for example, exam, UASA, UPSA, or worksheets are very manageable in this kind of situations. However, the weaknesses of these issues is that there are so limited time for personalized feedback. Teachers will face difficulty in monitoring individual students' progress, hence lead to the lack of individual attentions and also feedback delay. The opportunity in these situations that teachers can use digital tools, for example, Google Form, Kahoots, to evaluate the students, and also teachers can use or integrate peer and also self-assessment to reduce the workload. The threat that will be faced by the teachers is that teacher will be burnt out. Students may not be able to receive enough individualized attentions. The assessment quality also going to be reduced in this kind of situations. So this is the examples of articles that emphasize Malaysian classroom often accommodate between 40 to 45 students. This high students to teachers ratio make it very challenging for the educators to effectively teach and assess each students within the limited time frames. Consequently, the implementations of pentaksiran bilik darjah (PBD) become more or less effective. Due to the time constraints, some of the teachers can only provide brief comments such as "good job, try harder next time" on the students' writing assignments or maybe students' tasks. This limits the personalized feedback and reduce the opportunity for the students to improve themselves. Next, I would like to share a few recommendations for the teachers to overcome these issues. The first one is implement peer and self-assessments. The teacher can start to train students to review their own and their peers working using the rubric. However, in this kind of situation, the teachers need to make sure that students have a clear understanding on how to use the rubric. The second one is use technology for automated gradings. Digital platforms such as Google Form, Kahoot, and Quizlet can handle objective assessment effectively. Other than that, this platform can also provide you the data digitally, and also they can give you a graph for the end result of the assessment. The third one is adopt group-based assessments. The teachers can reduce grading workload by assessing teamwork through project-based learning. Now, let's move on to the second issues. Inconsistent grading standards. The strength of these issues that it allows some teachers flexibilities in assessment and also encourage variety assessment approaches. However, the weaknesses of these issues is that lack of standardizations can lead into the unfair grading, as different teachers may grade the same work differently. So, opportunities. How? By implements school-wide rubric and also moderations meeting. The threats of these issues is that student frustrations because of the marking and also the credibility issues among the teachers. So let's see the example that I have found. The articles highlight that schools and teachers struggle with implementing classroom-based assessment (PBD) due to the unclear guidelines. This lack of clarity leads to the inconsistency in how teachers assess students, as different teachers may have their own interpretations of grading criteria. Some teachers evaluate the students based on their performance in the class. Some teachers grades their students based on their performance in the examinations, and some of the teachers grade their students based on their behavior in the class. So these different interpretations has lead to the inconsistency in grading the students. Here are some recommendations for this issue. The first one, conduct moderations meeting. For instance, PLC. During regular teacher discussions, we can make a discussions on the sample students' work to align the grading standard between the teachers. The second one is use benchmark papers. Keep samples of graded assessment, for example, A assessments, assessment of students that get A, assessment of students that get B, or assessment students that get C, as references for consistency. The third one is provide clear students' feedback. Instead of just using grades, maybe the teachers can include written comments to explain to the students on their strength and also the areas for improvement. Now we have come to the last issues, the third issues, unclear and non-specific feedback in report cards. The strength of these issues is that it keeps report cards simple and easy to read, especially for the parents and also for the students. However, the weaknesses of this issue is that it lack of specific feedback which leave the students how unsure on how to improve themselves, and also it lead to difficulty for the parents to understand how their children's is improving in specific area, for examples in the language proficiency, speaking, their speaking skill, writing skills, and also their listening skills. Next, the opportunity. The, the teacher should implement more detailed rubric for clearer assessment. The threat for this issue is that the performance gap remains unaddressed, as the parents doesn't know what are the problems of their children, which it will affecting the students' long-term progress. So this issue should be addressed not only by the parents, also by the teachers and the school. Now, let's see the examples of article that I have found. This article is related to the issues of unclear and non-specific feedback in the report cards, particularly in the context of parental misunderstanding of assessment method. The article discussed how the Ministry of Education (KPM) has decided to revert to a percentage and grade-based reporting system instead of the previous tahap penguasaan TP method under the Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah PBD, a classroom-based assessment system. This decision was influenced by the parental dissatisfactions and their difficulty in understanding the TP systems. Parents were not clear on how the TP systems work and how their children's performance was assessed. This lack of clarity can be seen as a form of unclear feedback because parents were unable to fully understand their children's progress beyond just receiving a grades like TP6, TP5, or TP2. Therefore, the returning to the grading system ABC simplify the feedback but does not necessarily provide the details specific feedback that needed for the teachers to understand on how their children is improving in the specific areas, especially in their language skills. Now, let's check out some recommendations to overcome this issue. The first one, personalized feedback. Teachers can implement online report card system where the teachers can leave customized comment for each student so that the parents can review it just by browsing it online. The second recommendations is detailed rubric for assessments. Teachers can develop clear grading rubrics for different language skills, for instance, reading, writing, speaking, and also listening. The third one is comment and feedback template. School can create feedback templates to guide teachers or to help the teachers in writing clear and structured comment to evaluate their students. In conclusions, assessment challenges impact students' learning and fairness. By fostering a more consistent and constructive assessment environment, educators can better support students' language development, ultimately leading to improved learning outcomes in Malaysia primary English second language classroom. These changes will also contribute to more equitable and effective education systems. So these are the list of references that I use for these presentations. There are three articles that I took online. Okay, the first one is from Astro Awani. The second one is from Free Malaysian Today's platform. And the third one is from Fresh Readers. So now, guys, we are at the end of the presentations. I hope you enjoy my presentations, and I'm sorry if there any shock outcome from these presentations. Thank you so much for lending me your ears. Take care and selamat Hari Raya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.